Hey all you rusty freaks. Well, last week I played Rust a bit. I gave myself 60 minutes because of my RSI and my mouse hand. And I played with an ergonomic mouse, and while it definitely helps, I feel like it would still exacerbate the problem. So I'm not doing gameplay, but I'm going to read out 50, well, over 50 tips. I could do 100 if I include like a whole bunch of base building tips, but I'll start with 50 and see how I go. To be honest, I might even have to stop at less than that because I don't want to do a video that's over 10 minutes long. Hope you guys are doing well, and let's get underway. Okay, so keybinds. If you want to be good at Rust, or at least survive more often, you have to have certain keybinds. The ones I suggest you have, at the very least, are auto sprint, auto farm, so that you can hit things with just automatically. You know, it just keeps hitting. Killing yourself fast, a combat log. You need to be able to do those at the press of a button. Also, healing. You need to be able to syringe the moment you press your quick slot button. And man, oh man, have I been crazy for not doing this sooner. But you need to bind a key to craft bandages at the very least. I do arrows as well, crafting arrows, but I don't use that much. But I use crafting bandages all the time. While you're running, while you're looking around, you can just hit, boom, 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 hit the button a few times, and you got bandages crafting. I mean, there's nothing worse than having to open up your crafting menu to do that. For beginners, if you're stuck without tools, a bone club, much like a rock or a salvaged hammer, can farm anything. So that's pretty handy. I mean, if you're carrying around two tools, like a pickaxe and a hatchet, that's 2 slots in your inventory. Whereas, a salvaged hammer or a bone club, it's one thing, can harvest both. And it's also good in an emergency. If you see a base that has barred but open windows at any kind of a corner, at 90 degrees, or an overhanging part of a base, you can spear or pickaxe that to pass, to hit the soft side of a wall. So it's a way to what they call eco raid without explosives. Technically, and especially if you have several teammates, you can even pickaxe or jackhammer hard sides. But it's the soft side they want to get. Excuse that noise. That was a text message. Anyway, tip 3: when using a salvaged pickaxe on sulfur and metal nodes, first hit off the sparkly bit once, and then do the rest of the hits on the sparkly bit. It finishes the node faster. Tip 4: when using a jackhammer, tap, tap, tap. It's faster than if you just hold down the mouse button. Tip 5: you can repair several... this has been fixed. You used to be able to throw down certain items like ladders and windows on the ground, and when they stick together, they repair each other, but I don't think that works anymore. Tip 6: repair benches. Research tables don't need to take up valuable space in your base, especially since my philosophy is to always build tiny little bases, no bigger than 3 foundations. You just keep them in a box, and when you need them, you pick them up. So, and I would always keep a repair hammer next to them in the same box. So when you want to craft something or research something, you grab the repair hammer, you grab the, whatever bench it is, and place it somewhere, even outside your base. Fix the item, research the item, and then put it back in the box, so you save space inside your base. Tip 7: lock everything in your base if you can afford it. Especially for solos, a key lock is dirt cheap. Especially if you're online and you're being raided, every extra minute it takes raiders to waste getting into your stuff could help your efforts to stop them. Tip 8: even with a recent nerf, silent raiding with explosive ammo is the cheapest and safest method to raid for solos and small groups. Tip 9: med syringes can be gotten off scientists or med boxes at monuments. So if you, that meaning also if you recycle those large med kits, they break down to syringe. So there's 3 ways you can get syringes. Tip 10, use multiple bags near your base. The way I like doing it is placing one north, one east, south and west, and put some stuff to heal with and a weapon in there to deal with, you know, door campers, griefers and so on. Tip 11, take a moment to stop and smell the roses. Especially nowadays with the new graphics, Rust is an amazing and beautiful game. Admire the view. It's a world you're living in, not just a shooter game. And I don't know if this is in this list because I haven't looked at this list for so long, but part of that tip should also be my big secret to years of Rust. I've got over 12,000 hours of never getting tilted. Is if you can be like as happy as a pig in shit just by being naked with a bow. Because honestly, there's nothing more fun than getting an AK kit with a bow as a naked. If you could be happy, really happy just with that, you'll never get tilted if you lose all your gear or your base gets raided or offlined. Tip 12, jumping on a friend to reach the top of a base is great, you know. But if you don't have a friend, what can you do? Horses, they're all over the place. I could do a whole video on horses. You can use them to pass things through a wall, although I consider that an exploit. But just check out any BCHILLZ video. Once he goes deep on someone, he gets his friend to put a horse's head through the window and he can transfer stuff. That's 2 tips in 1. Bonus, already more than 50 tips. Tip 13, mushrooms heal instantly rather than the gradual like most other foods. So spamming those while healing with the syringe and bandages is faster. That's like 3 tips too, because that's another tip of mine, is always syringe and eat at the same time. You'll heal faster than just syringing or bandaging and syringing. Tip 14, when reloading auto turrets, don't turn them off. I need to do a video to show that, but you can do it really fast by switching it on and off and then putting the ammo in. 15, Eokas have they have the fastest draw and reload speeds, so using multiple Eokas can be a very effective early game strategy. I actually have done a whole video on the Eoka. If you click here in the top right corner, you can watch that video. Tip 16, use things like drop boxes for extra storage around your base. So your drop box can be placed on the wall so it's vertical rather than taking up all your horizontal space. I always put my syringes in there. Tip 17, if you spawn near a recycler on wipe day, gather a few boxes, barrels, recycle everything and make a bunch of Eokas and a cleaver. Chances are you'll be better equipped than anyone near you. Yeah, that's an early game thing, so when you've just first spawned, you run from the beach, hit some boxes and barrels along the road, and then run straight to a recycler and craft like 3 or 4 Eokas and a cleaver. Tip 18, if the gibs, that's little particles, you know, when something blows up, if the gibs when you blow the door or wall annoy you, because let's say there's someone inside a base and you're doing an online raid, the moment it explodes, the gibs hide the person. You can't see through the gibs. So if you set your gibs to 0, you can see them immediately. Tip 19, to start a base, run. Oh, okay, so this is my how to start, how to get how to get from beach to base. Run inland, never stopping. Pick up all the stone wood, you know, from all those pickups. When you get enough, you'll have tools and a bow, hopefully, and a bag, and then you can start farming at your preferred build location. See, what a lot of people do, they run off the beach and start fighting people, or they get to the nearest tree and they start hitting that tree. That's just the best way to get built. That's just the best way to get killed. Your priority should be running as far inland as possible, preferably to where you want to build your base. Tip 20, use servers that have aim training bots, build, combat tags, battle royale, minigames, creative build, to practice everything. You can practice PvP, you can practice raiding, you can practice building. Learn to love primitive combat. If you watch the best players, they're all good at shooting bows. If you truly love primitive combat, you'll never get tilted, as I've said before. And anyway, everyone has to start with a bow. Tip 22. Always expect there to be one more enemy after a fight. I can't tell you how big a tip. You'll die 50% less if you remember. And always think, if you manage to kill someone, hey, hang on, they might not be alone. Or even if they are alone, they might be able to call a friend that is going to kill you right when you're looting. Always expect there to be one more enemy after a fight. Part of that same tip, basically tip 22 is a PvP tip. Always be moving, never stand still. Always be flanking. Always fight from cover. Always have an escape plan. I noticed something when I watched Trausi over and over. I analysed his PvP. He always seems to have an escape plan. He always knows exactly where he's going to run if he decides to retreat. Tip 23. 5.56 ammo can shoot through trees and nodes. Its trajectory will change a little bit, but I've killed heaps of people because you just keep shooting. If they take cover behind a tree or a node, you just keep shooting. As long as it's 5.56 ammo, it will go through. Tip 24. Don't talk in game unless you're prepared to die. Talking in game will get you killed. It's like making any noise, like farming nodes or hitting trees. The minute you start pressing V to talk out loud in game, people all around can hear. And just in case this isn't written in my tips list, so dropping trees. When a tree falls, it makes a lot of noise and it makes there's visual effects as well. So if you're farming trees, you should keep hitting the X until you hear a crunch, and then hit it one more time. It'll make a louder crunch, and then go to the next tree. Don't fell it. And keep doing that to about 4 or 5 trees, and then go back to the same trees and hit them all one more time to drop them. That way, to anyone that is listening or nearby, they only hear a whole bunch of trees falling, and then you run straight to depot them. But if you fell one tree after the other, that's a good way to get killed, because someone keeps hearing one after the other tree falling. Okay, tip 25. If you're struggling as a solo, perhaps try duo. Playing duo doesn't double your chances of success. It's more like 20 times easier. It makes it at least 10 times easier. Tip 26. Use up your good weapons. It's a game. You've earned them. This is about hoarder loot, or gear fear, as they call it. You've earned those weapons. You may as well enjoy them. You never know when you're going to get offlined, or the server wipes unexpectedly. Don't be a weapon hoarder. Have fun. Use them up. In case it's not in the rest of the tips, don't keep explosives in your base either. I used to save up my booms so that I could do big raids or do a lot of raids. But again, you never know when you're going to get offline. Just do a raid if you've got a few explosives. Tip 27. This is a Rust tip I expect everyone already knows. Don't trust anyone. But lots of people are trying to play an angle to jack you or get your stuff. Tip 28. Lie about everything. So if you're in a Zerg, lie and say you're solo, and if you're a solo, lie and say you're playing with a whole bunch of people. Never give your base location. Tip 29. Before you log off, spend as much of your resources as possible. That's basically what I just said. Hey, that reminds me, I don't think this is in this list. Tip X, we'll call it. If you have a window, or one of those trading windows in your base, log off in front of that, but with really shitty gear. Let's say you already have all the tier 3 gear. Purposely have a wooden set with just like a yoker or a crossbow, and go to sleep wearing that. That way people who are snooping around to raid will see you in there, and hopefully they'll think, oh, this guy is poor, we won't bother raiding him. Tip 30. Great fortune is just around the corner. Don't worry if you get raided. Chances are You're going to take a walk and, you know, explore the map and find a decay base. Fortunes change in a split second in this game. Tip 31. Beware of official face punch servers. They have tons of cheaters on them because they're not very actively adminned. Rarely are they adminned. Tip 32. Stash bags are your friends. Even experienced players seldom take advantage of them. And remember, if you do use them, remember to refresh them every 3 days or they will despawn. And that actually brings up another tip. You can place stash bags on the ground and then build a foundation over the top of them. Don't bury them though if you're going to do that. And then when you need to access them, just break that foundation. It might take a while to, you know, like pickaxe a stone foundation, but it's a very, very good way to hide your loot inside a base. Tip 33. Take advantage of Outpost and Bandit Camp. They have workbenches, repair benches, research tables, recyclers, and sell amazing items. So it can be very good for starting out too. Well, some people would say also to use a boat. If you're having trouble struggling as a solo, take advantage of Bandit Camp and Outpost, or use a boat and just get boxes and barrels that way. Tip 34. Fire arrows are extremely good for destroying TCs quickly. 8 arrows is usually enough, and it's silent. You'd be surprised how many times people will raid bases or bases will decay and they don't bother looting a locked TC. Tip 35. I don't know why, but some people don't realize the Eoka can take all the shotgun shells. Yeah, you can put slugs in there. You can put incendiary in there. Any shotgun shell. Tip 36. Never create a key. That's for beginners. Yeah, you don't want to be carrying around a key because people can get inside your base. Tip 37. Build small, raid small, win big. Over the years and 12,000 hours, I can say for sure that this is overall the best strategy for the most success. Better to have several small bases with spread out loot than one stronghold. 9 times out of 10, larger bases are attractive to raiders anyway. If they look small but expensive to raid, often raiders will simply ignore them. The reason to raid small bases is that I look for bases that aren't honeycombed, is that you're not wasting a lot of explosives. So if there's nothing in there, you haven't lost much and you can go raid another base. It's a higher loss to profit ratio. If you raid a big honeycomb base and there's not much in there, you just wasted tons of hours of work and explosives. Tip 38. If you've ever wondered why sometimes you can and sometimes you can't repair items like shotgun traps or auto turrets, it's because past a certain point, roughly halfway, raw resources aren't enough. Like let's say it's a shotgun trap and you've got metal and wood in your inventory and you're hitting it and it's not repairing. You need to have the actual things that make it up. So you need some gears and some rope as well as the metal frags and wood in your inventory. Tip 39. If you're struggling with PvP or rage, try going out with less valuable stuff. You'll be surprised how effective it can be with just a crossbow, double barrel, or a compound bow. Jesus Christ, a compound bow is so fun and so powerful. Less stress over possibly losing gear will make you relax and you'll play better and you'll win more gear and then you'll be happy again. And like I said, just be happy being naked with a bow. Think outside the box. Tip 40. Think outside the box. Items like furnaces make great jump ups to reach a second floor, and now we've got all those electrical items too, like those lights. Likewise, you can place them down to take cover in a fight. Like if you don't have walls, you can place furnaces or other items down. You can use them to block doorways if you're being raided. You know. Tip 41, rotate placeables by hitting R. Wow, that's a real beginner tip. Tip 42, the best animals to kill in order of animal fat are bear 100, boar 39 to 41, deer 10, horse 10, wolf 10, human 1 to 2. That's not right. Humans can give more fat. It depends how long the human you kill has been online without being killed. And that's a bit of an exploit too. You can kill yourself if you're really desperate for fat. The longer you've been playing without getting killed, the more fat you will give. And items like the bone knife and the hunting knife give better results, and the hatchet rather than the pickaxe, which doesn't give us good results, or the rock, which gives the worst results. 43. Console kill isn't the only command you can wound yourself to. No, I don't think that's true. Tip 43. I don't know who told me that. Tip 44. Alt mouse look to see around you. I met a dude that didn't know that. Tip 45. Not sure on this, but I heard the tail rotor is much more vulnerable than the rest of the attack helicopter. If your aim is perfect, you can take the helicopter down with just one mag of an AK. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's 50 tips. So I'm going to stop the video here, see how that goes when I actually read it out. If it goes, if there's time, I'll do more. If not, I'll do another video. Peace, love, and mung beans.
Hey, you Stevie. Hey, you Stevie. Hey, you Stevie. Hey, tiny multi-bases. Hey, you rusty fruit. Tiny multi-bases. Hey, you rusty fruit. Tiny multi-bases. Hey, rusty fruit. Tiny multi-bases. Hey, rusty fruit. Bases. Tiny multi-bases. Bases. Tiny multi-bases. Tiny multi-bases. Tiny multi-bases. Tiny multi-bases. Hey, you rusty